The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back to The Local Show here on WSYR. Steve Roberts here with Sonia because Tommy wasn't feeling that good, so we're doing this without him. Sonia, you think we'll survive?
I think we're going to do a good job. I think he's going to love it. He'll love it.
So I think the text line of people complaining will probably light up. So if you want to text us, have any information, you want to hear somebody, you don't want to hear somebody like Sonia, whatever the case
You're
is.
so mean.
You can text us, 216-0273. Ask us questions, and if there's somebody you're trying to connect with, we are here to help. 216-0273. On the show right now is Charles Pays, the owner of AceTrust Solutions. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning. How are you?
Do you want people to call you Charles? So I say it like that, Charles?
You know, people often ask me that same question. You know,
Yeah.
what do I prefer to be called?
Yeah.
You can really call me anything.
Anything?
Charles works.
Charles works. Okay, so my middle name is Charles. So I'm actually Stephen Charles. It sounds very...
We only use that in the office when he's being bad.
Yeah, that's true. They're like, Stephen Charles. So what business are you in, and how the heck did you decide to do that?
Well, I'm a contractor. I focus mainly on kitchens and bathrooms and basements. I got my start years and years ago. I grew up on a farm, so using my hands was like the normal thing.
You learned how to work.
I learned how to work, yeah, for sure. And
Which side? Where'd you grow up? Which area?
Morrisville.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Oh, beautiful out there.
Yeah, thanks. So I genetically predisposed to use my hands, and used my hands all my life. And as I went through college.
Did you go to school for the trades, or what did you go to school for?
No, actually, I went to school for chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're really smart.
Okay.
If
I was really smart, I'd still be doing it.
Well, I don't know. So you went to school. Where'd you go to school?
I went to school at SUNY Morrisville.
Of course you did. You were in Morrisville. All right.
I went to Morrisville and then moved on to University of Buffalo, still studying chemistry.
Okay.
Eventually, I moved into the food industry, and I worked at Serrano Cheese. I was a lab technician.
So using the chemistry
manager.
and using those things.
Yeah.
Nuclear cheese.
Yeah, almost.
So how long did you do that?
Good question. Probably 2-3 years.
Okay. And then what happened?
Yeah. Then I moved into Pennsylvania.
You can get a little closer to that mic if you want to.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, I moved to Pennsylvania. I was the quality manager at a milk plant in Williamsport.
Okay.
Yeah. From there, I moved to a facility in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, where I was a plant superintendent.
There's a racetrack there.
Right.
Lebanon Speedway.
Is there?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Dirt track, nothing special.
Yeah. So I lived there for about 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
And then I moved to Waco, Texas.
Oh my goodness, you have a journey.
Yeah, I have moved all over the country. And Waco, Texas, I've worked in Boston, Massachusetts, and eventually I found my way back home to Morrisville.
Okay.
Actually, I should say Chittenango.
There we go.
Yeah. And started this business, which I've been doing now for about 7 years.
Okay, so AceTrustSolutions.com, if you want to look up, is what it is. So you are a contractor, inside guy, household stuff? Am I putting you in the right box there?
Absolutely. Early on, I was focused on mostly handyman type work.
Okay.
Electrical and plumbing. And now that has evolved into focusing on kitchens, bathrooms, and basements.
Right. I was on your website. You've done a lot of projects. Are you doing that all by yourself, or do you have a crew, or how are you doing that?
Right. It's mostly myself and my wife. On bigger jobs, I call in other contractors. If I have a big project where I have a lot of electrical,
right,
I've got an electric guy I can call on. If I have a big project where I'm doing a ton of flooring, I've got a flooring guy I can call on.
So does your wife make her hold the sheetrock when you're putting it up in the ceiling, or what?
Let's see. Yeah. No. But my wife is mostly helping out with things like painting. She's an excellent painter.
Oh, great. Okay.
Oh, she's great. And she can paint the straightest line that you've ever seen.
Okay. All right. So,
Freehand.
kitchen. What are people looking for in like kitchens nowadays? Like, what are the updates? What makes a kitchen old or makes a kitchen modern?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know that I'm the best person to answer that question because I'm doing the install on a project. When I have a project kitchen, for example, I have a designer that I can rely on.
Oh, great.
Yeah, the process I go through is I'll initially meet with a client, look at the project, get an idea of the vision for their project, take measurements, take pictures, and then I'll work up a labor estimate based upon their vision.
So there's a real process there.
There is.
If I were to suggest that maybe that doesn't exist in some home improvement organizations or crews, would I be wrong?
It may.
Well, everybody knows the stories and hears the stories of, I had a contractor, he was going to come over, give me a quote, and he didn't show up, and then they did, and they gave an estimate, and they didn't come back. It sounds like maybe you're a little different than that.
I try to be. I try to be organized. Right? And so the next step in that process is to connect the client with this designer.
Okay.
And the designer will sit down with them then and work through those details about what their taste may be or what their vision is for the finished product.
Okay. What is, it used to be marble, then it was the different surfaces. What are the countertops made of these days?
Quartz is very often used.
Quartz, that's a stone, a precious stone, isn't it? Quartz?
Yeah, well, it was, right? But
okay.
This is a man-made product now.
Oh, it is? Right. So what's special about that?
Yeah. Another great
popular?
question. It's just popular, yeah.
Okay.
I don't get that close to it because I'm installing
So you sort of stay in your lane a little bit when it comes to the quality installation, the timelines, the organization of it. People aren't going to get surprises because you've laid that all out. But then the creative part, you get a designer that says, okay, do you want brass knobbers or do you want pewter?
Exactly.
And your guy are going, whatever you want. We'll make it look good.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me, But I'll try and guide a person. Maybe if I have some insight on a certain product, I'll try to help them out and say, I've heard some people had an issue with this, so maybe you don't want to do that.
Right, and I know we were talking earlier. You get involved in some baths too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Is that like a total redo, or are you moving the tub out, or is it like what's your niche? Like, what do you like to do in the bath?
Right. I do a variety of these projects. Almost all of them are complete gut jobs.
Oh, okay.
Right to the studs.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yep. Right to the subfloor, tear everything out and start out fresh.
Okay.
At least with my customers, almost everyone is using a product called Onyx for tubs and shower surrounds these days.
So what is Onyx?
It's an acrylic product.
So is that like the insert thing, like one of those things, or is this more custom than that?
It's more custom, right? So it's about it comes in full sheets. They have some patterns. It's about 1/4 inch thick each sheet, and you would use one sheet per wall. So one sheet on the back wall, one sheet on the left-hand wall, and one on the right.
Is Luan still a thing that goes on the floor?
It still exists, but there are better products now.
I remember it was like, we're putting the floor down. We got to put Luan, and I just knew it was like this thin, kind of cruddy little thin board stuff.
Like a plywood.
Like a plywood.
Right.
Like a plywood. So if you're thinking about maybe redoing your kitchen and you're going to call some folks, you'll take that call and give them an estimate. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay. So they can reach out to you at 401-0052.
Absolutely.
That's the big area code, Sonia, the 315 area
big
code.
315.
Big 315. 401-0052. AceTrustSolutions.com. I was on there, and you can see some kitchens and some baths, and you got some people that seem to think you're pretty special. You got some good reviews too. How'd that happen?
The Google reviews.
Yeah.
I try to treat people right and keep them happy.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.